Hey everyone, this is Lucha Joe, and welcome to another edition of Wrestling Headlines Daily News Wrap, where we run down all of the news in the world of professional wrestling. Let's get to today's top story. AEW announced earlier this morning that this Wednesday's edition of Dynamite on TNT will feature a special sit-down interview with NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq re-signed a contract with Warner Media earlier this year and has been teased for AEW television by new women's division star Jade Cargill. Whether or not the Diesel decides to step into the ring is completely up in the air, but if anyone on the roster has seen Kazam, they know that Shaq is ready to deliver some hurt. Sticking with AEW, Sports Illustrated reported earlier today that wrestling icon Sting, who made his debut for the promotion at last Wednesday's Winter is Coming special, is expected to step into the ring to compete at some point during his run. The report does note that Sting, who will be wrestling at the ripe age of, 61, will not be competing weekly, with the main purpose being to leverage his star power and help build up younger talent. Sports Illustrated also adds that between Shaquille O'Neal's appearance and Sting's appearance, AEW is hoping to break over 1 million viewers for this Wednesday's episode on TNT. I just thought I should add that Sting at 61 could still rip my lucha head off of my tiny lucha body, and I would let him do it because he is a god. Also, if Sting murdered me, that means I would get to call, I wrote this one down, the police. And finally, it's time to talk about everyone's favorite punk, CM. The Chicago Savior appeared on Renee Paquette, formerly known as Renee Young's Oral Sessions podcast, to talk about what it would take for him to potentially return to the squared circle. Punk would add that, besides a whole heap of money, he would need an interesting story, one that is worth telling to bring him back into the ring. He would later elaborate by saying that AEW provides a much better option for him, since he is yet to wrestle most of their talented roster, specifically name-dropping the Young Bucks and AEW World Champion Kenny Omega. During that same interview, Punk would address WWE banning their talent from using third-party platforms like Cameo and Twitch, and criticize the company for showing special treatment to certain stars. Punk would question why WWE would allow New Day member Xavier Woods to be able to campaign to host G4, but they wouldn't allow former WWE star Zelina Vega to have her own Twitch channel. Vega, who was released by the company several weeks ago for breaking that third-party ban, has since been in contact with SAG-AFTRA for the possibility of unionizing pro wrestling. Punk would also bring up instances in his own career of WWE taking away opportunities from him, specifically citing a moment where a vendor wanted to put his face on a WWE pinball machine where the company opted to have somebody else. Why would you take CM Punk off a pinball machine? That sounds delightful. This concludes today's Daily News Wrap. Continue to follow along with all of our coverage at WrestlingHeadlines.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Wrestling Headlines. I'm Lucha Joe, and I'd like to leave you with a little bit of advice. My father once told me